When a new edition of your favourite miniature wargame comes out, it's pretty normal to get excited and start a new army. It's kind of what we do. But the discovery I made in doing so, I was not ready. Look, the thing is, when you've been painting as long as I have, and I am, unfortunately, quite old, you start to realise that you've kind of done it all, you know? You start to kind of feel like you know all the techniques that you're comfortable with and how you like to paint and what you like to do and why you like to do it. And I feel like this is doubly true when you teach. You know, you develop a style and you try and pass that style on to other people. I mean, there's a lot of that goes on this channel. But the thing is, the way I generally like to paint doesn't really work very well for painting my own models. Because, well, I don't have a lot of time to paint my own models, and that's why largely you'll see me doing display pieces or higher-end showy-offy stuff these days, because I'm trying to use the limited time that I have in the wisest way possible to, you know, make the company and myself look good on the internet so that people spend money with me. But Operation Sandtrap's here now, and with it, N5, the new edition of Infinity. And this poses a couple of problems for me. First of all, never been the biggest Pano fan. Lovely looking models, but just not really my cup of tea from a storyline perspective, and so I've never really been able to connect with them. JSA, on the other hand, big fan. I actually used to have a really quite extensive JSA collection with all the greatest hits, Yojimbo and Oda and Karakuri and Cats on Bikes, all that good stuff. But I went and sold that army. And of course, when JSA were announced as one of the new starter box armies, I immediately decided to pick them back up. So I'm here with my JSA, and I want to get them painted, and I don't want to spend 8 hours per model. In fact, what I'd really like is to spend about half that, because there's 9 models to get done, and, you know, that ends up being, near as makes no difference, about 40 hours to finish the whole lot, which is like a working week. So I've been squirreling away, trying to figure out what to do to get these models looking a way that I want them to look, but also in a time that I actually have to spend on them. And the answer was not speed painting. The answer was to think outside the box and to think of different techniques. So I decided to come up with a whole new approach to painting, and as a result, ended up with a really nice alternate colour scheme for the Japanese secessionist army. So enough waffle, follow along now and I'll show you what I discovered with my mental tinkering, and you can tell me if you think this is something you fancy giving a go at. It's sort of starts off with a similar kind of vibe to slap chopping, so I've decided to call this chap slop. Okay, so we're going to start off with a black primed model for our new game-changing method, and we're going to give it a real heavy top down with just something that's kind of close to neutral, but, you know, can be either cold or warm. And when it comes to the underside, this is where we are going to be a bit more zenithly. We're going to be a bit more careful here, not as heavy, and you can see we're just trying to hit the undersides. But I've chosen something really punchy and much darker than the first colour. Now, take that first colour, lighten it just a tiny bit, and then just start to map in some really straightforward highlights, tracing down into those undershaded areas so that you start to get a bit of crossover in the middle. You can see that as the two colours cross over, they sort of blend to the eye, even though they're not blended. And you can start lightening up those highlights then, just how you normally would, but just being really careful where you place them. And obviously the lighter you get, blend down into the underside stuff less. Now a quick glaze, and this is really just to sort of tie things together a bit, not much to speak of here, just use the original underside colour. Then pick an accent, and this accent, you want it to really contrast with your underside color. So pick something and work it up to a really bright contrasting accent color that's going to stand out a ton against whatever you've undershaded with. And you can see now mine's starting to really have some punch and some contrast, and that's what I'm looking for here more than anything else, because that's going to look great on the table. For a second accent color, I want you to still choose something that's bright and punchy, but keep it fairly neutral. So not anything that jumps out too much. I've gone with white here because that just made sense to my brain. Okay, now we're just starting to get into little flashy bits. I've added some airbrush shade into the white. You can see that I've also painted his face in. I'm not really going to show that because I've done enough faces on the channel. And then I've started to sketch a lighting scheme onto the weapon. I'm actually going to be doing this in the accent color, but a bit of a different methodology. You see here I've got this fluoro green, and I'm going to airbrush that over that light map, and then the overspill is going to act as kind of a glow coming off of it onto the white staff. So again, there's just a lot of economy there. Basing, again, you know, pick something reasonably neutral, but also reasonably bright, but then incorporate some of that undershadow color into the basing where you can. Again, just a bit of aggregate as well, and with just a few steps, you're going to be left with something like this. I mean, look, this has taken me about 3 minutes to explain to you. So as a design, as a scheme, it's clearly pretty simple. The painting is going to require a bit more skill than, say, slap chop, but it's really fast, really efficient, and the methodology just produces so much contrast and impact, and I love it. And so, yeah, once you've finished chap slopping your miniatures, you should have something that looks like that reveal. Or, well, I mean, you'll probably choose different colors to me, but, you know, at least I hope you'll have something that looks like that reveal. But this method, it kind of awoke something in me. It made me realize that I need to question my habits a bit more. You know, I need to say to myself, like, instead of blocking each individual section of the model up and then working it up and treating each thing as its own individual thing, and maybe just make the lighting the center of the focus and the colors a bit more secondary. And I mean, look what comes out of it. I love the way that miniature looks, and I'm really hyped to get the rest of my JSA painted that way. So I guess all that remains is for you folks to try it and tell me how you like it. It was a nice opportunity to put the Galeri airbrushes through their paces a bit more as well, particularly the Mobius 0.3, which I used extensively on this project and found really good both for the overall stuff and the precision stuff. If you like the Galeri airbrushes and you think that my word counts for anything, then obviously there's an affiliate link below along with the rest of the links. But the big thanks for this video goes out to Corvus Belli because, of course, they did send me an early copy so that I could get this video out before release day, and I massively appreciate that. Corvus Belli and I have worked together in a content creation capacity for years now, and they've always been an absolute pleasure to work with. So thank you once again for continuing to support the channel by sending us product. Infinity is a game that we would make reviews of and make content about no matter what. So we've never charged Corvus Belli for a video because they're just sending us product that we'd be buying anyway. And I do hope that that relationship will continue for a long time. But I'm going to stop waffling now. So yeah, chap slop your models, have a good time. Tell me what you think of the technique and give it a go. Just give it a go because, you know, it's something different, right? And might be your new favorite way of painting. It's worth finding out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that stuff. You know, give me a comment below and let me know what you think of the finished look of the JSA. And if you want to support the channel and help me continue to do this, then there is Patreon links below as well. It's always so much below these days. There's so many things below that I need to tell you about. But those Patreon links will, of course, lead you to our Patreon or our Ko-fi. There is Ko-fi as well. And you can keep the channel going. And it's £1 a month. So, you know, it's pretty reasonable, really. So yeah, with all that said, I'm going to get out of here now, but thank you so much for watching, folks. See you in the next one, and bye-bye for now.